All right, let's go. I'm Alex. I'm also known as 1Abstract in the generative art space, and I'm super excited to be part of 256 art community and share today with you a little bit of my story. What drove me to create art, I think initially was just curiosity. I think I should perhaps start with saying how I started, and yeah, it was about a year and a half ago, and it was completely by chance, and I wasn't planning to start creating art. I was just browsing for a package on how to present data on a software that I'm using for work. It's called R. It's actually specialized in statistics and also representation of data. And while searching for this, I stumbled across someone who is using R to actually make some amazingly beautiful pieces of generative art. And I was so intrigued by this that I thought, like, I'd really want to try it. And then I realized that I like it more than I was expecting. and I guess it has to do that for once I managed to create some things that at the time I thought they were beautiful. And I didn't have sort of an artistic passion before. I guess I always sort of had an aesthetic eye about things. The way things look are important to me. I'm a very visual person, but I haven't attempted to create art, and I guess it was just because I was a kind of a mediocre painter, and I'm not counting my childhood attempts to draw things, which I was just middle of the road in terms of my capacity to draw things. But with a computer and with code, it's completely different story, because I can control with code what the drawing looks like to a minute detail, and that changes the game. So yeah, it was by chance, and then this discovery that I can create very beautiful things made me continue to do it, because it's just an amazing feeling to be able to create such things that brings you joy, that also brings happiness to the ones around you. And it's an amazing feeling that you can't really describe in words, I guess. Yeah, it was in R, and I was trying to create a tree, basically, nothing extremely original, I must say. And it was a complicated process, because I had to go through different R packages, and one for the for the code to have the tree, another one to draw the background, another one to position the different layers. So it was a very, very tedious attempt. And I actually tried to publish, if I remember well, this on ETH. At the time, I was not very aware of the impacts in terms of climate change that the Ethereum proof of work had. And then, yeah, when I started getting more information about this, I stopped. But luckily now Ethereum is moved to proof of stake, and then the concern in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, all the computation behind it, it's not a concern anymore. Yeah. Yeah, the most recent art, I mean, in terms of published, I guess, it's something I published on FXhash, and it was, to be completely honest, I really like the output of sort of a fluke in the code that I did not really understand. Even to this day, I do not understand exactly why the output was coming the way it was coming, and but that didn't bother me. I really liked the effects. And it was one of my first attempts of creating something more minimalist. I have to say, sometimes I like minimalist art, but it's something that I find it difficult to create. I always kind of block about, this is too simple. I shouldn't stop here. I want to add more complexity and different things. And it's called serendipity because of this, by chance discovery of this particular effect. It was a very short edition because it was more like a sketch type of project. But one other project that kind of stands out a little bit more, it's called Lost in Multidimensional Planes. And it's a very naive attempt to picture a universe with multidimensional, with multiple dimensions. With our universe right now, we know very clearly that it has 3 spatial dimensions and 1 temporal one. But there are other theories out there that says that you may have up to 10 or even more dimensions, and this was kind of my attempt to depict and visualize that. And I was using for the first time WebGL in P5.js, this library that is a bit more beginner friendly for JavaScript. I think it stands out in terms of kind of concept and the way it was done. Maybe I rushed it a little bit, but it's an interesting project that I really like a lot. Yeah. Well, I can't really answer that without mentioning that I grew up in Romania, and just by growing up in Romania, there are a number of things that I can think of that somehow left an sort of a more unusual stamp on me, but not, things that probably also affect a lot of other Romanians of my generation. And I could mention here the poverty, I could mention here the sentiment of injustice that we often felt, some of us who are not part of the privileged caste of members of the Communist Party. But those are things, again, that kind of affected a lot of other people, not just myself. But there is one thing that actually, and in a way it's because of my son, that I kind of realized this is very, very different what I experienced there than what he's experienced in France, is that at the time we had an amazing amount of freedom as kids. And it's not that we were neglected, but still we are not accompanied as much as kids nowadays in Western Europe, where everything is scheduled, there are activities planned. And of course we had some of that, but we still had a lot of free time, and this freedom of doing what you wanted. You're not, go wherever you wanted, and in the neighborhood or in the fields around, and playing with things. And this time on your own, I think it was a time that I was using a lot to experiment on things. I still am very much drawn to nature, and I was experimenting with plants, insects, and I think it played a role in my development, but also in finding this passion for experimenting. And I ended up, I guess, in part due to this also with a job in which I'm actually doing experiments. I'm an experimental ecologist in a research institute in France. And all of this because it's so different from what my son is experiencing. And I'm trying to, let him more freedom to do things and experiment things, but I guess it was very different, and I cannot say for sure whether it affected me a lot, but I think it played an important positive role actually. Again, I think it has to do with my career. I remember when I went to Germany first time for my master, I realized that my education was really not on par with my peers there. I had so many holes. It was the way we're taught in Romania. It was so theoretical and very little practical experience. And I felt like I'm completely rediscovering things there. And I kind of started from I would say, a disadvantageous position. And then, I really enjoyed it. And then I put a lot of work into this, worked in the weekends and holidays, but is what researchers do. And it doesn't seem to be too hard because we're passionate about it. And then, yeah, I have to say that the fact that I survived in this system, and I'm currently, well, perhaps doing a bit too much laboratory management than research myself, but it's still a job that I appreciate very much. And I think it's perhaps, yeah, something I don't like to say I'm proud about, but it's something I guess I am. Oh, I'm not very good at keeping friends, and this is again, it's something that I'm starting to feel it a lot more recently. I'm not sure exactly why, but you know, moving around from country to country like this, it pays a toll on your relationships, on your personal relationships, on your friendship. And I had so many amazing friends along the way, which I currently don't keep in touch with, and I lost them, and this is something I really regret a lot. And yeah, maybe I should be more careful with this and put more effort into keeping these relationships. It's curious that I'm starting to feel it more now, but yeah, this is a regret I really have, and yeah, it's something that bugs me. I need to start working on this a bit more. I guess the first advice would be, don't get advice from people on YouTube like me. But if I would have to say something that was important to me, and I think it helps me a lot, is things that I've learned through my researcher job. Sorry, I can always, well, often came back to this in this interview. But you know, as a researcher, we are trained in critical thinking, and we're trained in what is called the scientific method. And this is kind of something that is repeated over and over. You know, we're always biased. We have to be careful about this along the way, about almost everything that we're doing, whether it's research or in your life. Ideas that you have about something, you can be biased, and it's so easy. We think we can be objective about things, but it's tough. And one other thing that's related to this that we learned through this training as a researcher is that when you're in doubt, you have to try to falsify your opinion or your hypothesis that you currently hold. Instead of trying to confirm or to find evidence that fits your idea, much safer to try to disprove your idea. And I'm using this quite a lot, and it's something that helped me along the way a lot. It helps a lot with finding, you know, in this, you know, post-truth society that people are saying that we're in, where social media is, you know, you can find all sorts of truths online on whatever platform, and it's tricky to be sure that what you have as information is it accurate or correct one. And this kind of approach of trying to disprove an idea that you start to create in yourself, it's actually a very useful thing, and it helps me a lot. Yeah.